Come, let us explore how a meditation expert reacts to tantric samaya. We're going to base this off of the 10th verse of the Song of Mahamudra Shastra, written by Tilopa, translated by Garma C.C. Chang, adapted and amplified by yours truly. Please chant with me. One who keeps tantric precepts yet falls prey to the tyranny of discriminations. Duality of dread and desire betrays the vows of awakening. Therefore cease all neurotic activity, abandon the tyranny of desire. Let thoughts rise and fall as they will like ocean waves. We're going to continue because that's how it works best in this circumstance. One who never forsakes the practice of relaxing into the non-abiding emptiness of that which is ever-changing, nor forsakes the principles of non-duality of all that arises, upholds the tantric precepts. They who abandon the tyranny of craving and clinging after this or that perceive the real meaning given in the scriptures. So, whether you're reading the writings of Prahevajra, or you're reading the writings of Tilopa, they agree that the essence of vows lies in simply practicing the meditation and mindfulness and meditation. And if we try to just gut it out and use fear of embarrassment or willpower to be a better person, we will multiply our neurosis. But to be vulnerable in the present moment, to breathe in and notice not only our sights, sounds, sensations, flavors, scents, but also our emotions, all the emotions that come up in the moment, be they glorious or grotesque, be they pleasurable or painful, be they interesting or boring, to be vulnerable to them. And we don't need to get all neurotic and perfectionistic about finding the perfect label for each emotion. Whatever comes up has the same label. This, the demonstrative pronoun, this. During our exhalation, we're already wired to physically relax and mentally release. But due to a quirk of evolution and the conditioning we've experienced over the last 11,000 years, we tend to resist that. We tend to live in opposition to our autonomic nervous system. But our prefrontal cortex can only do so much. And when we overwork it, it triggers our amygdala, the seat not only of anxiety but also of aggression. And so the essence of tantric samaya, so the literal tantric samaya, is simply to rely upon your teacher's example, your teacher's instructions, and your teacher's students. And this has been run through the coffee grinder of religious patriarchy for more than 1,000 years, until it's become this great lumbering beast of folly. And so what the great sage Tilopa and the great sage Prahevajra taught was simply by practicing mindfulness and meditation, we spontaneously fulfill all our vows. Here's the mechanism for that. By cooperating with the sympathetic and parasympathetic nervous systems ensconced within our spinal cord, we automatically stimulate our anterior cingulate gyrus, the portion of our brain that functions as the hub of our mirror neurons, the seat of empathy. And so the highest love is spontaneous and uncontrived, and the natural, effortless byproduct of practicing mindfulness and meditation. In fact, and this is wild, mindfulness and meditation comprise the 7th and 8th folds of the Buddha's Eightfold Path. And by simply playing with them enthusiastically and correctly and consistently, they cause the remaining 6 folds of the Buddha's Eightfold Path to be accomplished spontaneously, which I think is fabulous. So let's tie this up in a big red bow. According to the great spiritual luminaries, both Prahe Vajra as well as Tilopa, as well as the Buddha, the essence of all the vows is the loving kindness that is the effortless byproduct of mindfulness and meditation. Having concluded the opening lesson, I would very much like us to now meditate, unless there are any questions on the subject. It is Qui-Gon Jinn Tuesday evening. Come, let us meditate like a Jedi. After approximately 30 seconds of housekeeping. This is Lama Jigme Gyatso of the Buddha Joy Meditation School. For more than 30 years, I've spent about 8 hours a day, almost every day, studying, practicing, mastering, and reverse engineering the teachings and techniques of each school of meditation so that you would not have to. Welcome, my friends, to Meditate Like a Jedi, which is made possible due to the generosity of viewers just like you. Let's turn our attention now to the latest iteration of the Easy Meditation Practice text. Please chant with me. Whatever comes, may all beings let it come. Whatever stays, may all beings let it stay. Whatever goes, may all beings let it go. Welcome to this evening's first quarter of Mindful Crease Counting Meditation. Let us begin by, I would like to begin by reminding you of the fundamentals of Bengali crease counting. Over the span of 12 inhalations, we can advance our right thumb in the following manner, beginning with our little finger. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. If we multiply these 12 inhalations by 8 sets, we'll have 96. We can keep track of those 8 sets upon our left hand. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 sets of 12 inhalations each. Now, to keep track of this, our first quarter, we can rest the great knuckle of our right little finger upon the tip of our left little finger, palms up in our lap. Doing so could gently invite the real or imagined subtle energies to coalesce in the bladder region of our lower abdomen. So here's a quick review. What is the most efficient way to practice mindfulness? Every time we inhale, whether we know it or not, we are already wired to effortlessly access the sympathetic nervous system ensconced within the middle third of our spinal cord. This sympathetic nervous system has evolved to help us to vulnerably, passively, viscerally, randomly, and fleetingly notice mind's antics of perception, emotion, intention, cognition, recollection, and imagination. Now, this might seem like a lot. Fortunately, there's a hack. Every time we silently and mentally recite the demonstrative pronoun this, during our inhalation, we interrupt the pattern, we interrupt the momentum of our cerebral cortex competing with our sympathetic nervous system, and instead encourage him to cooperate. Yes, that's all very nice, but what are we to do with all that stuff that we notice? Simple. We meditate. Every time we exhale, whether we know it or not, we have already evolved to effortlessly access our parasympathetic nervous system, divided by the lower third, as well as the upper third of that same spinal cord. This parasympathetic nervous system has evolved to support both physical relaxation as well as mental release. And so, yes, there's a hack for this. Every time we silently and mentally recite the one-syllable verb ease during our exhalation, we interrupt our cerebral cortex, the habit of our cerebral cortex to compete with our parasympathetic nervous system, and instead encourage them to cooperate, which is quite lovely. And thus we find ourselves so relaxing and so releasing that what we noticed during our previous inhalation could fleetingly feel less tantalizing, less permanent, and less defining. Come together, let us meditate. So, quick edit. Now, what am I looking for? Please chant with me. In the great seal of Mahamudra's awareness and release, all one's so-called sins all burned. In Mahamudra, one is released from the prison of this world's tyranny. This is the Buddha's teaching on Dharma supreme torch. Those who rejected are fools who ever wallow in misery and sorrow. There is no need for ritual. There is no need for mantra. There is no need for confessions and lamentations. Simply practice mindfulness, vulnerably, passively, viscerally, randomly, and fleetingly. Simply relax into meditation, and we will slice through the habits, the destructive habits that have brought us so much sorrow. Welcome to this evening's second quarter of mindful crease counting meditation. To keep track of this second quarter, we could rest the great knuckle at the base of our right ring finger, upon the tip of our left ring finger, palms up in our lap. Doing so could gently invite the real or imagined subtle energies to coalesce in the navel region of our mid-abdomen. When we silently and mentally recite the demonstrative pronoun this, during our inhalation, when our breath coalesces within our lungs, we find it effortless to vulnerably, passively, viscerally, randomly, and fleetingly notice mind's antics. When we silently and mentally recite the one-syllable verb ease during our exhalation, we effortlessly relax into the non-graspable nature of mind and all its antics. Together as a team, let us meditate right now. Good evening. Together as a team, let us chant the 13th verse of the Tilopa's Song of the Mahamudra. Together. To strive for liberation, one should rely upon the instructions of a Lama. When your mind receives a figurative blessing of their guidance, emancipation is at hand. So the real blessing is not vibes. It's not the laying on of hands. It's not the whispering of mantras. It's simply giving advice that is born from personal experience, not mere theory, not mindless aphorism, but first-hand experience. That's why, even though it's possible to master the Buddha's path in only a week, I typically recommend that people don't start teaching until at least they've accumulated 10,000 hours of formal study and an additional 10,000 hours of formal practice. Because before we open our trap and tell others what to do, we want to make sure that we know our ass from the hole in the ground. Welcome to this evening's third quarter of Mindful Crease Counting Meditation. How are we going to keep track of this third quarter? By resting the great knuckle at the base of our right middle finger, upon the tip of our left middle finger, palms up in our lap. Doing so could gently invite our real or imagined subtle energies to coalesce in the heart region of our chest. By way of review, when we silently and mentally recite the demonstrative pronoun this during our inhalation, when our breath is coalescing in our lungs, helps us, it makes it quite easy for us to vulnerably, passively, viscerally, randomly, and fleetingly notice mind's antics of perception, emotion, intention, cognition, recollection, and imagination. But what are we to do with these things? As we relax into our exhalation, let's try this again. As we silently and mentally recite the one-syllable verb ease during our exhalation, we are wired to so relax and so release that what we noticed during our previous inhalation can now fleetingly feel less tantalizing, less permanent, and less defining. Together as a team, let us practice right now. Together as a team, let us chant the 14th verse of Tilopa's Song of Mahamudra. Alas, all things in this world are measureless, they are but sorrow seeds. Small teachings lead to neurotic sex, one should only follow teachings that induce profound peace. Let's explore this in a minute. Sturgeon's law reminds us that 90% of everything sucks. Since the Neolithic Revolution, the majority of societies have trained the majority of people to be rigid, fearful, superstitious, controlling, elitist, cryptic, competitive, and cruel. When we follow the advice of people who think that being rigid and controlling and fearful and superstitious is awesome, it's going to multiply our neurosis. It's going to multiply our aggression. It's not going to give us the peace and the love we desire. Fortunately, not everyone thinks this is a wonderful idea, and a minority of people subvert religious patriarchy for spiritual matriarchy, and they replace the rigidity with flexibility, their fear with love, their superstitions with rationale, their controlling tendencies with being laid back. They replace elitism with egalitarianism. They replace being cryptic with being lucid. They replace being cooperative with being they replace being competitive with being cooperative. They replace cruelty with kindness. I can't tell you how many religious institutions of every denomination sincerely feel, to paraphrase Hamlet, that they must be cruel to be kind. But these things are antithetical. And 50% of the Buddha's Eightfold Path pertains to loving kindness. So find techniques that support your peace, not your anxiety. Welcome to this evening's fourth quarter of Mindful Crease Counting Meditation. We could keep track of this quarter by resting the knuckle at the base of, let's try this again, by resting the great knuckle at the base of our right index finger upon the tip of our left index finger, palms up in our lap. Doing so could invite our real or imagined subtle energies to coalesce at the crown region of our head. Excuse me. By way of reminder, when we silently and mentally recite the demonstrative pronoun this during our inhalation, The noticing of mindfulness comes naturally. When we silently and mentally recite the one-syllable verb ease during our exhalation, the release of meditation is effortless. Together as a team, let us practice right now. Having sat for the better part of an hour, you might find it refreshing to join me for a spot of enlightened fitness. Guru from the Blessed One, Tathagata and Arhat, completely perfect Buddha, great victor, Shakyamuni Lord. To you we bow, go for refuge and offer gifts, so please bless us. Guru from the Blessed One, Tathagata and Arhat, completely perfect Buddha, great victor, Shakyamuni Lord. To you we bow, go for refuge and offer gifts, so please bless us. Guru from the Blessed One, Tathagata and Arhat, completely perfect Buddha, great victor, Shakyamuni Lord. To you we bow, go for refuge and offer gifts, so please bless us. You have taken your first step into a much larger world. If you feel that I have earned it, you could give this live stream a thumbs up. You could even help support this channel. In approximately 11 hours or so, I would very much like to return to lead tomorrow's early morning meditation class and group practice. And if you are as geeky as me, may the Force be with you always.